In the quiet village of Okon, where the earth was fertile and the people rose with the sun, there lived a man named Amaze. Amaze was known far and wide as a hard-working farmer. His barns were never empty, his hands were always rough from honest labor, and his word was trusted by all who knew him. Amaze was married to a beautiful and gentle woman named Adugo. She had a soft laugh, a calming presence, and a kindness that flowed as freely as the river near their home. 2 years after their marriage, Adugo gave birth to a daughter they named Chidima, meaning God is good. From the day she was born, people noticed the child. Chidinma had glowing skin, rosy lips, and bright, curious eyes. But more than her beauty, it was her spirit that made people love her. She greeted elders respectfully, shared what little she had, and never spoke harshly to anyone. As she grew, villagers would often say, "This child carries her mother's heart." Life in Amaze's compound was peaceful until one day tragedy crept in quietly. One evening, Adugo went to the stream to fetch water as she had done countless times before. The path was familiar, the air calm, but as she stepped off the narrow trail to rest, a snake hidden in the grass struck her ankle. She screamed and fell. Though shaken, Adugo was not foolish. She crushed herbs between her fingers, tied her leg tightly to slow the venom, and made her way home. That night, she told Amaze what had happened. Alarmed, Amaze immediately tended to her wound. He cut the skin slightly and drained what he believed was bad blood. For a while, Adugo seemed fine. She even laughed and reassured her daughter. But a week later, sickness gripped her body. Her strength faded, her voice weakened. Her husband carried her to the village traditionalist, who tried everything he knew, but the poison had settled too deep. One night, as the moon watched silently, Adugo took her final breath. Chidinma cried until sleep abandoned her eyes. She clung to her mother's wrapper, refusing to let go. Amaze mourned deeply, shutting himself away from the world. For 3 months, grief filled the compound. Eventually, Amaze's friends came to him. "You travel often," they said. "Your daughter is still young. She needs a woman to guide her. You need help managing the home." Reluctantly, Amaze agreed. He married a widow named Nneka, who came with her daughter Ngozi, the same age as Chidinma. At first, Nneka was polite. She spoke softly in Amaze's presence and pretended affection toward Chidinma. Believing he had done right by his child, Amaze resumed his long journeys, traveling to distant villages to sell his farm produce, sometimes staying away for months. Whenever he returned, he brought gifts for everyone. But the moment he left again, the truth surfaced like a rot beneath a mat. Nneka's smile disappeared. She took Chidinma's clothes and jewelry and gave them to Ngozi. She woke Chidinma before dawn and walked her until nightfall, sweeping, cooking, washing, fetching water again and again. Ngozi, on the other hand, did nothing. She slept late, ate the best food, and spent her days gossiping and laughing with friends. Chidinma bore it all quietly. She remembered her mother's words: kindness is strength, my child. And so she endured. One evening, exhaustion took over her. Chidinma fell asleep before fetching water. When Nneka returned and saw the empty clay pot, her anger burned. She screamed until the compound echoed. Chidinma, lazy child, are you sleeping while work remains undone? Chidinma rushed out, trembling, and knelt before her. Mama, forgive me. I was tired. Please let me fetch it tomorrow. It is very late. But Nneka's heart was hardened. You will go now. Inside her mind, a dark thought formed. If she does not return, my burden is lifted. Chidinma picked up her pot and stepped into the night. The path to the river was silent. Owls hooted, leaves rustled. Chidinma's heart pounded as she reached the water's edge. As she dipped her pot, the river began to rise violently. Water swelled, the surface split open. A woman emerged, her skin shimmering, her voice echoing like flowing water. Why do you disturb my river at forbidden hours? Chidinma fell to her knees and told her everything. Moved by her humility, the river goddess took her beneath the water to her dwelling and tested her kindness. Chidinma cleaned, arranged, and worked patiently without complaint. Pleased, the goddess offered her 3 pots. Chidinma chose the middle one. Break it at home, the goddess said. Chidinma offered thanks to the goddess and made her way home swiftly. When she returned, she found the compound crowded. Nneka told everyone gathered that Chidinma insisted on going to fetch water from the river against her advice. I fear she has been taken, as it has been over 2 hours and Chidinma was yet to return. She said this because Amaze had returned and asked for Chidinma. The villagers there felt sorry for the couple and lamented over Amaze's misfortune. As they spoke and offered condolences, Chidinma entered the compound to everyone's surprise. She greeted them politely and went to drop the pot of water in the backyard. Chidinma, her father stuttered. Chidinma, why did you go to the river tonight? What would have become of me if anything happened to you? Her father asked her while hugging her, relief all over his face. And so Chidinma told them the truth. She said, Mama asked me to fetch water tonight. If not, there will be no peace for me. She also narrated what happened at the river and brought out the medium-sized pot to show her father. Doing as the goddess instructed, she broke the pot for all to see, and precious jewelries, gold and silver coins, and coral beads were revealed. Chidinma was happy with her reward, and so was everyone, except for her stepmother and stepsister. When everyone finally dispersed, Nneka called Ngozi, and they hatched a plan to allow Ngozi to go to the river too at night to bring back jewels and gold and silver coins. Ngozi and Nneka discussed how they were going to be rich and favored that night. Ngozi could hardly wait for the next night. By the next night, Ngozi took a pot and went to the river. She dipped her pot in the river and said noisily, Can this so-called goddess come out quickly so I can take my own gifts and go home? It's too dark and dangerous out here. The goddess came out this time and replied to her, I'm here, my daughter. Why are you here at this time of the night? First of all, I'm not your daughter. Secondly, I heard from my sister that yesterday, when she came to fetch water, you gave her a gift, and so I want mine." The goddess said nothing and took her into the river to the room she took Chidinma to. "Over there are the pots. You may pick any one of them." The pots were again arranged according to size, and Ngozi, looking very greedy, picked the biggest pot, for she thought if Chidinma's medium-sized pot could bring all those riches for her, imagine what her big pot will bring. The goddess took her by the hand and returned her back to the river bank. "Smash the pot open, and you will get your reward when you get home." With that said, the goddess went back into her river. Ngozi didn't even say thank you, and she ran back home, her pot that she came with abandoned. She went straight to her mother's room and showed her the pot. The two of them, being very greedy people, decided not to tell anyone, and so they closed the door and then smashed the pot on the floor. Instead of jewelries and coins and coral beads, what they got was spirits wielding cane that pursued them out of their room and out into the compound. They screamed as they ran, and their noise brought people out. After a while, the spirits disappeared and Ngozi and Nneka could finally rest. The people who gathered put two and two together and laughed at them. The next day, Ngozi and her mother left the village, never to be seen again. Chidinma lived in peace thereafter with her father, who decided not to remarry, protected and loved. And the villagers never forgot the lesson. Kindness is always rewarded. Thank you for watching and listening to this story. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment your favorite part.